Hi again guys, and welcome to another circuit spec build on Gran Turismo Sport. And you probably noticed a slight difference in my voice. That's because I've got a cold. Wow. But anyway, this is a circuit setup which has been fairly highly requested for, of course, the F1 car, the F1500T-A. And it's kind of a control tune in an all-round sense, but what I actually did is combined it with another tune that I was building already to make it a two-purpose tune, because it is a circuit setup, but if you reduce the downforce, it's also a top speed tune. So you can use it very much so as a multi-purpose car. If you reduce the downforce, you can get up around, I think it's like 230, 235, something like that, and with the highest downforce you can still get about 215 out of it. So it's not slow, of course. Now we're taking it out to the Nordschleife in just a second to see what it can do. But as far as the tune itself goes, you don't necessarily need to touch the power or weight. If you are a less experienced driver, you might want to reduce the power initially just to get a feel for the car and then gradually increase it as you go along, but of course that's down to you. Traction control we've got turned off. Of course that will depend on the person and personal preference. As far as tyres, I know people like to use different ones for this car, be it hards, mediums, softs, so just go for whatever. I chose mediums because the softs make it a little bit too easy, whereas the hards, well, they're not too difficult, but the mediums are, well, they're just that, a happy medium. So feel free to change those if you want to. If you want a real challenge, go on sports tyres instead, or comforts even. Brake balance we haven't adjusted. As far as the suspension, we're running 50mm of ride height, which isn't super low, but it's not high either. The frequency is on 5.1, anti-roll on 5, which is modest. We've got 57 on the compression aspect of the dampers, then for rebound 85. We've only got 1 degree of camber, which may seem surprising for a car that's like this, with this kind of performance and power, but it doesn't really need much more than that. Again though, if you want to give it more, or even take it down to nothing for the challenge of it, by all means. We've got neutral toe, as usual. I'm running the full downforce for the Nordschleife, but again, that'll depend on the track and also the driver. I know some of you guys like to run lower downforce. It certainly has its advantages, top speed and top-end acceleration in particular. As far as the diff, of course, with a car like this, it's going to vary wildly from person to person, but I've gone for 20 on initial torque, as high as possible on acceleration, then as low as possible for braking. With that setup, I would recommend using careful throttle control. Don't ever use 100% throttle coming out of a corner with it, with this tune. Well, you can, but don't be surprised if you spin out. I'd recommend giving it a slow build, about half throttle as you exit a corner, then give it the beans. And as far as cornering goes, it doesn't understeer too much, and again, that'll depend on the tyres as well. The tyres on this car make a massive difference. And as far as the gearbox, as I said, it is more of a top-end kind of tune, so you can change it if you want to. I haven't adjusted the individual gears, but we've got an auto setting of 242 and a final drive of 4.2. So more than good enough, more than enough top speed for most technical circuits, and of course you can drop that downforce if you feel the need. But that's it for the tune, and of course we'll now take it out on the Nordschleife to see what kind of lap it can actually run. Now there are certain occasions as a tuner, and as a tuner who's made hundreds of setups as I have, both for straight line performance and cornering performance, and even others too like drag or drift, there are certain cars which allow you to have this kind of magical moment, and it's a moment which I like to refer to as making a car that's better than you. And this is something which might sound like a strange concept, but I have always been a better tuner than a driver. I'm not a slow driver, but I know that I'm far from being the fastest, and I've never tried to be. With my tunes though, I've always tried, and for the most part achieved, the goal of helping people who don't know as much about tuning to master certain cars. That's been the case for the past 4 years on the channel. But there are certain vehicles which can go the extra mile, and that's when the real magic happens. With a certain car and a certain tune, there's just this innate feeling that you can have where you can feel that this car is faster than I will ever be. And that is an awesome thing. It sounds like a disadvantage, but it's a really cool thing, because it allows me to say without a shadow of a doubt that certain guys of you, without question, will be able to use this tune that I've built to be faster than me. And I love that. I don't have any issue with that at all. I think that's really cool. Now, my lap in this car wasn't slow. It's like a 5:43, 5:46, something like that. Which, of course, is, I have no doubt, nowhere near the fastest in the world. Of course not. It's probably 20 or 30 seconds slower. Maybe even more. But it did surprise me that this car with this tune was actually slower for me than my Porsche 919 Hybrid. And that did surprise me, because this feels a lot faster. So, kind of strange there, but as you can kind of see from the video, especially if you watch the throttle bar at the bottom of the screen, I'm very rarely giving it full throttle, especially through corners. So, you can definitely go quicker. I have no doubt that with a more aggressive driver, maybe someone who uses a manual gearbox instead of an auto like I do, or someone who uses a wheel perhaps, because once again, I know that wheels are faster, it's just a personal preference thing. I have no question you could probably instantly shave about 5 or 10 seconds off of the lap that I did. So if you do want to try out the car, give this tune a go, maybe you'll love it. And for those of you who do love it, I think you'll probably be able to go pretty quick in this car, to say the least. So, if you did enjoy this tune and want to check out others for N classes, racing classes, drags, special project replicas, whatever the case may be, then of course you can click through to the dedicated playlist for all of my tunes at the end of this video. And for now, as always, thanks for watching.